So this question is question number 37. We have some information provided before what is a very short question here. So let's spend some time understanding what's going on before we get to the actual question. So what we're told is that Jessica opens a bank account that earns 2% interest compounded annually. So I'm going to just write that down and say, Jessica, what do we know about Jessica? She has this bank account that is doing 2% per year. Her initial deposit was $100. Okay, so she deposited $100. So I'm going to say $100 deposit. And she uses the expression $100 times x to the t power. So I'm going to just write that down. $100 times x to the t to find the value of the account after t years. So this gives me the value, and t is in years. So that's all the info provided. So the actual question says, what is the value of x in the expression? So what is this thing here? What is that doing? Well, what I like to think about is, well, we know that the entire equation is giving us the value. What else do we know, right? So I go to what I do know versus focusing on what the question's asking me, which obviously I don't initially know. So I do know that t is time. I do know that the $100 was the initial deposit, right? So in essence, I've used that information already. I've used this information already. I know that the entire thing altogether is the value, right? So don't need that. The only thing left that is not represented in this equation is that 2% per year. So I can pretty much guarantee that x has to represent the 2%. Because if it didn't, then how would that 2% integrate into this formula or into this equation? So now the tricky thing is, well, what's the answer? Is the answer 2, right? Is it maybe 0.02? Because we like to turn percentages into decimals. And don't forget that that is always what we're going to do. So I'm going to say 2 is not going to be the best answer here. Is it 0.02? And then if we look at 0.02, because it's 2%, a lot of students may choose that value and make a mistake there because they're not thinking about, like, well, what happens when I put this in? Yes, 0.02 is 2%. I do know that this is the representation of the 2% interest that I've been given. However, when I put this in, what I'm actually finding, right, is not the value of the account. I'd be finding just the interest only, right? How much interest was earned, let's say in that first year or second year. So what I need to do is say that this is 1.02. And this may not be completely intuitive, but the reason why this value needs to be 1.02 is because I'm earning 2% on top of my initial investment, right? Which I can call 100%, right? So 100% of my investment is the $100, right? So if I made no interest for the first year, I'd say, well, I just have 100 times 1 to the first power, and I still have $100. I made no interest. But if I'm going to earn 2%, that means I still have my $100, but on top of that times 1, right, I'm adding 2% to that so that I can determine how much money I make in that first year, and that's how I would find out that I made $102, right? If you throw this into your calculator with 100 times 0.02, what you'd find, and let's just do it quickly so you can hear me using my calculator. So 100 times 0.02 is $2, right? So again, this $2 is the same as that $2, but it's not what we're looking for here because, again, the question told us we want this equation to represent the value of the account. $2 is not the value of the account after 1 year. $102 is the value of the account after 1 year. So hopefully that made sense. Our answer here is 1.02. If it didn't make sense, please leave a comment down below. But hopefully this was clear enough so that even if it did not make sense prior to you seeing this video, and definitely maybe not while you were answering the question, if you ever see a question like this again in the future, you'll think back to this video and realize, oh no, it's not just the interest rate, it's the interest rate on top of the 100% that I'm carrying forward in the account.